Hey guys, you would have seen in the previous how-to videos that just about everything in Japan has one way to do it and one way that it's done. It's because Japanese culture is all Japanese people who've been here forever. Not like a lot of other cultures like my old country where there's people there that have come from all around the world, and the culture tends to be very mixed with all sorts of cultures. So there's no real one way of doing just about anything where I come from. But in Japan, there's one way to do everything. And what that means is that if we do anything differently, we're seen as different. Sometimes we're seen as strange or weird. So just a couple of quick examples of that. I try really hard to conform and do everything the way that everybody else does it. Recently I was at a martial arts dojo and we'd been there all day, and we stopped to have lunch, and we were eating lunch, and I had a small carton of flavoured milk, and just a small one, it's like 400 ml, very small, one of those spouts that you sort of push open. And I was sitting there eating my lunch, and I noticed that there was some people, a little group of people beside me looking at me, and I was sort of thinking, okay, what have I done? Because, you know, I'm always sort of cautious about making mistakes. And then I heard one of them say, look, he's not using a straw. And I just don't like straws, you know. It just doesn't seem right for me. So I was just drinking from this carton, and it's only small. It wasn't like it was a really big one or anything. But nobody does that. So to them, it was really weird. Another quick example was recently I was watching TV with some friends, and there was a variety TV show, which is, yeah, you'd have seen that in another video, but there's a group of guys on there, all in their mid-20s, pretty cool guys, and sort of, you know, idols in Japan. One of them was wearing a cravat, which is, it's really old style, like a big tie, and they wear it inside a collared shirt, you know, like this. And it's sort of old. You might have seen maybe James Bond used to wear them 30, 40 years ago. You know, it's really old style, and you don't sort of see them anymore in other countries usually. And one of them was wearing that, one of them was wearing a bright orange vest, and another one was wearing a flannelette shirt, which will make my Australian friends laugh, because flannelette shirts in Australia are usually just for rednecks. But, you know, this guy was wearing a flannelette shirt. So I was sitting there watching this, and I didn't comment, because if you come here and comment at how weird stuff is, they don't see it like that, and it just makes us seem rude and weird, basically. So I didn't comment. But the next day I was going shopping with the same people, and I said I wanted to buy a plain white t-shirt, and they all reacted like I was weird, you know, that I wanted a plain white t-shirt. And you know, they're just small examples. There's often bigger stuff. I mean, you would have seen on a previous video that if you have a girlfriend in Japan, you have to be prepared to listen to Japanese guys tell her and tell you how cute she is and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff like this that, you know, stuff that they do that we feel is weird, that we might not be comfortable with, but we can't say anything. You know, and it's the same as with stuff that we do that in our own countries is perfectly normal, but here is weird. And it's not, obviously, you know, I've heard foreigners say, oh, in my country we do this. That's sort of okay with friends if you do it diplomatically, but it's really not worth getting into, because you're not in your country. And yeah, it's just rude. You know, it's best not to do that. You know, in my country we do this, in my country we do that. It's best not to do it. Just to complicate things a little bit more, in most cultures, if someone does something to embarrass themselves, in most cultures you sort of say, oh, it's okay, and you show them some compassion and some concern and say, no, it's okay, don't worry. In Japanese culture, the most important thing, as you would have seen in the other videos, is to maintain atmosphere of calmness and harmony, and that's the most important thing in Japanese culture. So if you do something to embarrass yourself, people will laugh at you, and what they're doing is they're laughing to show you that it's not important. So if you've just done something to embarrass yourself, they'll all laugh at you, and they're doing it to be kind. They're doing it to show you that, hey, look, it doesn't matter. But for many of us, that can make us feel uncomfortable. We've just embarrassed ourselves and everybody's laughing at us. The correct response is to join in on the laughter. So for example, I'm an Australian. We don't ski very much in Australia, you know. I went snow skiing for the first time. Every time I stood up, I fell over, and sometimes it hurt. And all my friends laughed at me. And it was just to show me that, hey, it doesn't matter, it's okay. But that was really, really difficult for me at the time, because, you know, it's like, hey, stop laughing, you know, what are you laughing at? But you can't do that. You've got to laugh with them and go, yeah, that was funny, you know, and then move on. So, you know, stuff like that can be difficult, because, you know, it's easy to feel sometimes here that, you know, these guys are weird, you know, look what they're doing, that's really weird. And yet at the same time, they'll look at something that we do that's perfectly normal, and they'll laugh at us and say, wow, look what he's doing, how weird is that? So that can be difficult, and particularly if you're here for a long period of time, that can be very frustrating. So it's just another one of the challenges that we have to face in Japan. But being aware of why this stuff is and why they react like they do, and accepting what they do is the first step in getting through it. So there you are. I hope that one helps somebody deal with being weird in Japan.